First up, bit of love for the sliders.
Mate, I'm living the comfortable life. You got to be comfortable in these situations. So.
It's that hotel bubble vibe, isn't
it? Yeah, exactly.
And so obviously we've just had the weigh in there. Joe looking in unbelievable shape.
Yep.
You must be pretty pleased with the way that camp's turned out, really.
I'm happy. Yeah, I'm really happy with how camp's turned out. I mean, all the boys have put in work. Obviously, we've got Cam and Greg here who've been alongside me the whole time. Day in, day out, watching Joe's weight, making sure he does what he needs to do. And that's the result, you see. He comes in, he looks athletic, he looks like a fighter, he's ready to go. He's going to do the business.
And Sam Jones was joking yesterday about Joe having a few packets of biscuits before the Wallace fight. He was 19 stone 2 then, obviously he's a little bit lighter now, but have you seen like a completely different level of motivation for this one?
Well, yeah, and what people have to remember about the Wallace fight is like, up until that point, I hadn't really been speaking to Joe much before they called me and said, hey, Joe's got this fight. And it was 3 weeks, I think it was 4 weeks, so we had 3 weeks of training. And I know Joe, he'd been on the lockdown, I don't know, he'd been out on his bike cycling around when he wants to, quite leisurely. I think he was maybe taking over, but look, athletes should always be in shape, okay? But he got the call 3 weeks before the fight, so we got him in as good a shape as possible for the fight. And I think, Joe probably looked at it as well. He probably looked at Wallace and was like, this guy isn't on my level, okay? Not that he didn't do the training, but for Dubois, the motivation's there. You want to be in shape. You want to bring your best self to the ring because it's the biggest fight of his career so far. So there was no messing around, and everybody in the camp knew what Joe needed to achieve to go into the fight in the best possible shape. So that was the result.
And obviously this week's been a bit of a strange one because there was a bit of sort of drama on Tuesday, but it got sort of handled fairly easily, and you already had a plan sorted, and it has been a co-effort through the whole camp.
Yep.
But how's Joe's mood been? Because obviously yesterday he was doing the press and he looked in like really good form, really good mood. And we saw in the gym he looked in really good mood.
Yeah.
Has his mood been up and down throughout the week, or is he just all ready to go?
No, I think it helps being a heavyweight. You don't have to make weight. With the smaller guys, they might get a little bit moody because you're not getting your food in. You're probably dehydrated as well. But obviously, he's a heavyweight and he doesn't have that. And Joe's not the type of he doesn't get super excited pre-fights. He's pretty just stays at one level. He's not like a moody guy or anything. You can still have a joke and a laugh with him. He likes to have his relaxation time. I'm sure you've seen his computer getting set up in his room. So he's just chilled, man. He's a very chilled vibe, and he'll just get on with it. He doesn't have little mood swings or anything. He's cool, and he knows come tomorrow that little switch has to turn on. That's super focus. He'll zero in and he'll go into the zone, and then it's time to do what we've been getting ready to do.
And how easy was it to get the Salas stuff out of his mind?
Pretty easy. I mean, look, I think, if you've spoken to Sam and Adam, they half expected, there was a possibility with Salas coming back from another country and so on. So, we've got a really good team. I don't know what people on the outside think, but, me, Cam, Greg, obviously Salas was here and he went back, but we've been talking to Salas consistently over the camp. The game plan was set all the way at the beginning of camp 10 weeks ago. So it's been consistently working towards that game plan every day. And Joe knows that. And like I've said to these guys, he's used to hearing my voice every day in camp. Even when Salas is there, he's used to hearing my voice every day in the camp. So when the news come out, yes, it's a kick in the balls, if I can say that. It's a kick in the balls slightly that he isn't going to be here, but he hasn't been here for all of camp, and he's not here now. But we've been prepared for that, and we've been dealing with that anyway, so it's no different. We've got the game plan, we're locked in. Fortunately, we've got Jimmy Tibbs in the corner as well. He's going to be working with me and Greg alongside there. You want to talk about experience, you can't get a more experienced guy in boxing than Jimmy Tibbs. So, if I feel like I need to ask something, I've got Jimmy, right? And I've worked with Jimmy a few times. Joe's worked with Jimmy a few times. We're set, man. It didn't affect Joe, really. Maybe some people wouldn't have wanted to take the fight if their head coach hadn't been able to turn up on fight night, but there was no chance of the fight not happening. We heard the news, spoke to Joe, he was cool, we carry on, we get the victory.
And then just the weigh-in there as well. Dubois and Joe, similar size, but Joe coming in a stone heavier.
Yeah.
And that's got to be telling, because it's a little confidence boost, really, isn't it?
Yeah. Dubois, I mean, I think like his past 4 or 5 fights, he comes in around 17-1, 17-4. I'm not sure if that's the heaviest he's come in at, but he's around the weight he usually is. Joe is I hear a lot of people talking about he's going to blow Joe away and rouse it. I think people forget Joe's a big, strong, fully developed, heavy man. And like you said, he's a stone heavier than Dubois. He's got an absolutely brilliant chin, a fantastic chin that obviously we're not looking for him to rely on that, but it's there as an insurance policy. And we'll see how that goes. I don't think Daniel is particularly used to fighting guys bigger than him. I think he's maybe like, what's that guy's name? DL Jones or something like that. It was about his height and maybe about his weight. But Joe's a little bit taller than him. He's a little bit of a longer reach. He's a stone heavier, It's a different ball game, and Joe's been there and he's fought bigger guys. Ustinov, 6'8", Donnie Palmer, 6'11" or whatever he was. So he's used to those different sizes and styles of guys. How's Daniel going to handle fighting a big guy who's as big as him, as strong as him, arguably better chin than him? We'll find out.
And now finally, after all the delays, after all the hype, after all the press conferences, all the talking, all the getting things out of the way, it's finally the next thing coming.
Yeah.
How relieved is everyone in the team, including Joe, to have all this stuff out of the way?
I think probably, look, for Joe and Daniel, less so myself and maybe the others involved, it's been put back 3 times, I think.
This is the 4th date, isn't it? Yeah.
The amount of times they've had to see each other and go to meetings and hear about the build up to this and who's gonna. I think both of those guys are just ready to fight. Like, listen, neither of those guys are the most comfortable in front of the camera. They're comfortable in the ring, trading leather with people. So we're finally there. There's just over 24 hours until we'll be getting in the ring. I think both guys are ready to go. And, all we can hope is that both teams give their best and the best man will win on the night. And that's all we can hope for.
And everyone in boxing's been excited for this since whenever the first fight was meant to be April.
Yeah.
Well, before April. Now it's getting that feeling, even though we're all locked away in here in the bubble and you don't get the noise of outside and the crazy events and the build-up, you can really sense online. Yes. The world is watching this one, isn't it? And it's going to be mainstream. Yeah.
It's a huge fight. It could be one of those British classic fights. It could be a Bruno Lewis, or a Ben Eubank. It could go down in the ages. We don't know, and hopefully it will be a great fight. And it's one of those ones where everybody you talk to, it doesn't matter who you talk to, who's going to win. Oh well, I see Daniel could do this and Joe could do. It's so close. Like, people don't know which way it's going to go. Some people maybe lean a bit that way, some people lean the other way, but that's what makes these great fights. And hopefully I really can't see them getting in there and it being a stinker, but it's close and it's hard to separate the two. Whoever really can ask the questions of the other guy that haven't been asked, I think will be the guy who wins the fight. Obviously we both got game plans going into the fight, and who can implement that better, that's going to tell. And yeah, I mean, we're confident that it's going to be our game plan and our strategy that comes out on top. So let's see what happens.
Perfect. Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
No worries.